All right, Matty, welcome back to the Ask Matty Show. Matty, how are you feeling?
I'm doing excellent. It's a new week, ready to get after it.
It is a new week. And team, you guys had a lot of questions this week, and I'm starting to notice a lot of you guys have exchange questions. And I'm going to be honest here. I'm tired of bringing them up with Matty here. You know, we want to talk about cryptos. We want to talk about our investing because at the end of the day, these exchanges, they are just marketplaces. Matty drills that into your head, and I'm going to drill it in a little bit more. They are just marketplaces. We do not store our cryptos there, and there's just not very much to talk about there. But we do reviews of these exchanges on our website, cryptocharge.com, which you can check out. Matty just did one on Mexi. Matty is also going to do one today on BitGet. So if you want those walkthroughs on how to use the exchange, just go to our website so we don't have to do it here. Nobody's searching how to do this website, whatever. They want to talk about the real meat, the real cryptos that you guys, of course, all want to know about. So again, team, go to the comment section down below. And in the pinned comment, you can click on our website. It'll take you there, and it will show you everything we have to offer there. Cryptocharge.com is where we are from. We do education over there, and you'll get plenty of walkthroughs, tools, all that good stuff. And under that, shop.cryptocharge.com, get some swag. And lastly, team, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. It greatly helps us grow. We're getting a lot of good feedback from you guys from these shows. So keep that coming. Drop a question down in the comment section if you have any type of crypto questions, as long as it's not an exchange question. But other than that, we're going to get into the show now. Matty, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Benny Blockchain says, Render won't go back to 80 cents again. Just accumulate it now. Anything under $2 is a good buy.
So if you're, long-term perspective, long-term buyer, and if under $2 is your value buy, all good for it, right? And I've heard this with a lot of high-quality assets before, and even assets that are older than this. If we're talking about Bitcoin or XRP, I've heard XRP a million times. XRP will never go below 50 cents again. I heard that all through the last bull run. Here we are. We tapped in the 30s, right? And we can justify and make all these reasons why something's never going to go back to a certain price. But, the reality is charts are going to rebalance themselves. A lot of times they're going to retest accumulation zones more than one time. Another good example of that is Bitcoin going below its previous all-time high. Everyone said, well, it's never done it before, so it can never happen in the future. And that completely got evaporated in this last cycle, right? It went below the previous all-time high. And that's not unhealthy behavior. A lot of people think, well, price has to climb and has to make higher highs and higher lows, and that higher low can never exceed the previous high, right? And that's not the case, especially when you're looking at charts from a longer perspective and you're looking at rebalancing and revisiting zones that were broken out of. Sometimes it needs more than one test in that zone, and that's a perfectly healthy thing to do. Let's take a look at the chart here and show you why 80 cents for me is that magic number. And it's an elevated project right now. It's very expensive. People thought Matic was never going to drop below $1 or 90 cents, and there we go, touching the 50 cent mark just the other day, right? And again, that was just a technical rebalancing. Nothing happened on the Matic network. Ethereum didn't get sued by the SEC, right? Nothing fundamentally changed. It was a technical rebalancing of the chart. So, again, for me, I just can't buy assets that are extremely elevated because at the end of the day, I want to try to get the maximum ROI possible. So if I buy assets that are elevated and haven't really come back since they've taken off, I'm putting myself in a very vulnerable position. So if you already have an average on Render, you go, hey, $2 is my average, whatever, I'm just going to keep DCA from here. Fine, go for it. But I just can't do that in good conscience. So I'm going to show you guys looking out here. First of all, Render's not that far off of its previous all-time high, right? It was like $9 up there. We're like 78% down, which is quite a bit, but compared to a lot of other alts that are down 85, 90, 92% that are really high quality, I'm going to go ahead and focus on those assets. And if you look at Matic side by side, they were pretty much in an identical position, right? Matic was elevated like this and then dropped pretty significantly. So where are we now, right? We had a little bit of a back test here after we broke out. We broke a little higher towards 210 here, broke over these highs. Let's go ahead and just grab our highs so we can show you what I'm talking about. This high right here, go grab my brush tool, this high, right? That was a clear break, got a little bit of a back test in here, and then you got a nice move higher. What do I see here though in the short term? I'm gonna show you right now. We got a head and shoulder pattern forming right here. So head and shoulder pattern looks like this. You got left shoulder, you got the head, and then you got a right shoulder forming. Last piece of this is the neckline. Now, drew this a little bit sloppy here, but the way that you measure the target for a head and shoulder pattern is measuring from the top of the head to the bottom of the neckline. So that'd be about a 37% drop. If we were to measure from the neckline and go 37%, where would that put us? That would put us right around $1.13. So that would just be the measured move from the structure. It would put us about $1.13, which is significantly lower than current market price. And still I'd rather start my DCA or start to pick up closer to $1.13 than $1.94 right now. This is also an asset that I've seen move very, very violently in both directions. It's been a very, very volatile altcoin. Now, I will say it's a very high quality altcoin from a fundamental perspective because there's a real world utility case that's already being presented now, right? People already syndicate very expensive equipment and hardware to be able to do 3D modeling, video rendering, pretty much anything, even high quality gaming. And you can access that from a rig of your own that has, for example, maybe only 4 cores and an integrated GPU, right? No external GPU. So there's a real world use case being presented here, tokenizing GPU power and then being able to syndicate that, right? So I overall understand why you're bullish on this and you're saying, whatever, $2, $1, 80 cents, I don't care. If that's how you're going to be investing based on the fundamentals, I understand that. But I'm also a technical trader in addition to my fundamental research. So for me, the very, very minimum that I would say would be like a quote unquote safe entry to start a community would be like $1.13. I still would like to get 80 cents. And again, 80 cents is down here in this region. That would be the previous highs over here. So you guys can see kind of in this region around 80 cents. So we spiked up here, created a little bit of resistance, but there was also this top over here, right? Where we came up, broke through, and then didn't really come and back test that fully, right? We came as low as 90 cents, so about 10 cents shy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we revisit this area and then take off again from here. So you do what you're going to do here, but between 80 cents and 118 is really kind of more of my goal accumulation zone for this asset. And if I don't get it, I'm perfectly okay with it. I got my bags packed. I'll keep contributing to other bags that are in that technical zone for me to accumulate.
Matty, I want to push back a little bit on this one here because, this guy, was Benny Blockchain. It's a good asset is probably, the excuse he would use here on why he should buy it and doesn't care so much about the price. Matty, I remember when this was like launching, and the project was brought to us. And we remember those days of when those projects were launching. And in those moments, people are like, oh, this is going to keep going. It's time to buy this asset because it's only going to go up from here. These assets pull back significantly. And if you have the opportunity to buy in a bear market, which we were doing with the assets we love, like Casper and XRP and Zcash right now, so it doesn't make there's other assets to grab right now. Wait for these lows that you can make serious life-changing money. Matty, would you agree to something like that? Is it really worth buying Render if it can decrease a little bit more? Is it just wise to DCA? Should I deploy my whole bag? What should I be doing with Render right now?
Yeah, I'm just hands off with Render right now. It's too pricey for me. I even do this with assets I've been accumulating for years. So like if XRP, for example, pops 100% in a week, DCA is off, baby. And that's not, I don't believe in XRP anymore. That means, hey, I'm never going to buy it again. If it pops 100%, what are the chances of price pulling back even 50 or 60%? Pretty high, right? So I'm going to go ahead and continue to approach it that way. For some people, that's too much work. They'd rather just DCA no matter what the price is. For me, I'm going to try to be a little more tactical with it. So if I see large appreciations in price, DCA gets turned off. I see a huge drop in price, DCA is back on. And that's how I approach it. And, for you guys, you're going to have your own investing strategy. This is how I've gone about it. I'm really happy with most of my averages. Of course, I always want them to be a little bit lower. And if I get the opportunity, I bring them down. But the only way to bring your average down is to DCA more heavily when we're in these incredible bearish or capitulative moments, and then back off the DCA as we come into these more bullish moments.
Yeah, if I'm not looking at my Fibonacci tool, like, under that 20% to DCA, which is like the tool that Matty uses a lot to decide when to start DCAing. Matty, at any point, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's just how you taught me. So right. That's what I use. If it's not that, I'm just listening to Matty when he's turned his DCA on. And I got to say, he's been pretty on point. So if you're getting those lows, when he tells you to turn that DCA on, my DCA is on. I'm buying Zcash right now. I'm buying API 3 right now. And I know next bull run, I'm going to have a good average on those assets. And of course, Matty, you can't call the bottom. Like nobody can call the bottom. You can only set your targets. You can only set targets for what these altcoins will do next bull run, but you can't predict those prices. Nobody can. So the smart approach is to DCA here, and I really like what you had to say about Render. I'm really excited for it in this next bull run. Any final comments on Render here, Matty?
You guys got it. Scale in, scale out. Never feel like you need to rush anything. If you feel like you're rushing into an investment, whether it's something you're fundamentally bullish on or you think it's a technically good price, don't ever rush in. There's always more time than you think that there is.
User, a lot of letters. Why are you so convinced that Zcash will do well long term? Is it because of the privacy it offers due to CBDC being rolled out?
Yeah, that's one of the main factors. And, again, team, I want you guys to think about CBDCs and understand that they are going to kind of work complementary with how the Swift messaging networks works now, right? You're going to have banks no matter what, right? Whether they're facilitated using digital currencies, whether they're leveraging DLT and blockchain or not, you're always going to have financial institutions, because as much as I'd love a world where we all use cold storage and we all just transact with each other and bank ourselves, it's not going to happen, because you know what? 99% of our population is too stupid to go ahead and manage all of their own stuff. That's just the reality. And I hate to say it, but like it is, right? And most of you guys watching now that are getting invested and trying to build a plan and building a portfolio for yourself, you are ahead of 99% of the population right now. You guys are so far ahead, right? But when I think about Zcash and I think about privacy, I think it's something that people really, really value, right? And I think that privacy is very normal. We've come to this idea that, unless you're completely transparent about everything and your finances and your identity and all these different things, that you have something to hide, right? Or you're doing something nefarious. But that's, not the case at all. Privacy is very normal. And I think Zcash and as well as Monero are both very good, both technical cases and fundamental cases for a proof of work model that encompasses that privacy value, right? So when we look at Bitcoin, it's great, decentralized peer-to-peer transactions, but there is no privacy aspect to it. And with Zcash, there's a lot of modularity to it as well, right? You can use different types of wallets, and some of them are shielded, some of them are unshielded. So you can still have this hybrid model with Zcash where you can either send public transactions or private transactions. And I think that's a very valuable mechanism. Like I've said with any asset in the future, something comes around that starts running laps around Zcash, great. I've already sold some of my Zcash bag, 70-80% of my Zcash bag at my targets. And now I have tons of dry powder to buy the next Zcash out there, the next privacy play, the next asset that's providing people value in the privacy sector. So again, right now, I think Zcash is the best play. I never hold on to all of my bag long term. I'm not that guy that just buys, 5 assets and goes, hey, I'm going to keep stacking these in the next 20 years. I'm going to go ahead and throw them in my IRA and hopefully I do well by the time I retire. No, I'm a trader. I'm going to accumulate and I'm going to sell at the closest I possibly can and scale out and cycle tops. I'm not going to catch the tops. I'm not going to catch the bottoms. Goal is to build that portfolio bigger each and every time. And I think that Zcash is going to be one of those staples this time around.
So pro, a lot of letters there going on. I'm not much of an algo holder, but started at 11 cents. A sub $1 billion market cap has me interested, especially if you can add in a Roth IRA. What are your thoughts on algo at these levels?
Believe it or not, Gary Gensler used to be a big Algorand fan. You guys can go watch his MIT talk if you guys haven't already seen it. It's on YouTube for free. You guys can, it's about an hour long, but you can check it out. References Algorand in one of his videos and talks about a lot of the benefits of Algorand. They have some islands that they're working with right now for CBDC infrastructure utilizing Algorand. It's very, very cheap and efficient. Technically ISO 20022 compliant, which again doesn't mean that it's a ISO 2022 coin. It just means that the coin could be compliant with that messaging standard. It's really, in my opinion, of the realm of the XRPs, the XLMs, the IOTAs, of that payment processing plays, being able to run other assets like stablecoins over it very efficiently, very cheaply. It would also be a great payroll solution. So Algorand at these levels, we're basically at all-time lows. We're at multi-year lows right now. So if you don't have any Algorand, we're kind of in like that Zcash spot right now where a lot of people are going to ignore this. This is going to go under a lot of radars. A lot of people are going to miss it. You'll see it appreciate. Algorand probably worth $1 or more, and then everyone will start to kind of like, turn back their attention to Algorand. Zcash will be a few $100, turn their attention back to Zcash, right? But we're never going to be paying attention like we are at the lows right now. So I think that you've got the right idea here. 11 cents is a dummy good price. If we drop 50% from there, I'd start DCAing, probably maybe contribute some of my fiat bag, start contributing more heavily to my Algorand. I haven't contributed to Algorand as recently. I bought when we dropped down to about that 11 cent region, but I just did a lump sum buy. I didn't do any DCAing down there. But if we were to drop below those all-time lows, I would definitely start DCA back into it and make it part of that regular DCA cycle. But I think it's a good buy right now.
It's pretty funny because in the bull run, like everyone's talking about these cryptos, like buy is the time to buy. You don't hear anybody saying buy this, buy that right now, unless you're in these small communities, like in this, like, the small like Zcash community. Everyone's like super bullish on Zcash.
Right.
I think it's literally going to save the world. But these these are the times when we should be doing buying, because it's hilarious when you said that, Manny, because I'm thinking right now, I'm like, I don't see anyone saying like, where's your DCA at? Are you, setting your limits, your limit buys down? Are those ready? So this is like really the time when it's kind of funny. I'm going to be excited to look back on this and be like, how right were we, And just,
absolutely.
And just on another note, Maddie, I was looking earlier today and I was looking through, I was just doing some searches. I was looking at some old crypto chart stuff. And I watched some old TA that you did on XRP, and you were pretty spot on with this bear market so far on XRP. Matty was only a couple cents off of this bear market XRP low. So that's just going back to all the things we've been talking about with the DCAs, the buying. You know, nobody's talking about right now. You should probably be scooping it up. So those are some praise for you right there, Matty. If I don't praise you enough. James Bond, WP1PO, what do you think of Loop Network?
So I actually don't know anything about Loop Network fundamentally. It's something that we can go ahead and look at some TA on. If we can go ahead and I'm hoping that the ticker is Loop, and we will see. All right, we got it here on MEXC. All right, earliest price history is from October of 22. Let's go ahead and just grab Gate.io. One of the things you want to do, team, is when you're looking for price action, you want to make sure that you have the most price history possible so that when you're looking backwards, you're not missing a very important support or resistance level or some price action that could maybe show you that there was illiquidity on the exchange. So those are just things we want to check for. But it looks like MEXC has the most history here so far. So we can see back here, we had Loop launch. It looks like October of 22. That looks like the consensus here. We had a pretty good run up, and it's still pretty elevated. It kind of reminds me of the MAT. It kind of reminds me of the render chart. The area of interest for me down here on Loop Network would be down in this area, and this hasn't been back tested. This is just glaring. It's in my face. I can't stop looking at it, and then I would also grab the bottom here. So this would be kind of the range, and again, I know that it upsets people to tell you that price might go lower than it is currently because you don't want it to. Listen, I'm ready for all of my bags to moon tonight. If it happens, I'm all for it. Take me to the moon. I'm ready to cash out and make a bunch of money. I just don't think we're there yet. But you guys can see here that we had a little bit of resistance back here in October of 22. We stabbed multiple times here in January, February, again back here in March, breakout. No back test, right? We had a pretty decent pullback in here, but the thing that I like to see in charts is the previous resistance zone flipped into support. It is the most basic of concepts. People overlook it. They try to, pull out 99 other tools to tell you about what price is going to do next. But the reality is price is going to move the way it's going to move. It's going to deviate from your plan a million different times. And over long periods of time, these areas generally get satiated. So the area of interest for me, the highest I would look to buy Loop Network, and again, make sure you do your own fundamental research. It's not financial advice. Would be right around 4 cents, and then the low end would be around 2.5 cents. So if it drops into this little square that I put here, between these two ranges, that's where I turn that DCA on, and that's where I'd look to start accumulating Loop. Again, if we were to go ahead and use our Fibonacci and go swing high, swing low from the previous swing high, swing low here, right? Let's go ahead and just remove everything off of our chart here, team, so we can see clearly. We'll go swing high, swing low again here. We actually perfectly nailed an 8 extension here. And I love seeing this on assets that I've never done this before. When you just select a range, a swing high and swing low, of course, you can have all of these different retracements in here. But we reach out perfectly and snap that 8 up there at the top, came back and actually used the 4.236 as resistance here, used the 3.618 as resistance, used the 2.618 as resistance. So this is actually a very valid fib range. So you guys can see if we were to pull back down into kind of my area here, that would actually be the 702, the 786, which are very prominent numbers within Fibonacci sequence. So I would definitely be looking at 4 cents as kind of the minimum range there. If we were to be looking at targets beyond that, we'd see maybe like 47 cents, 76 cents, and $1.22 is like those next 3 targets beyond the previous all-time high. And that's kind of how I'd play this. But again, make sure you do your own fundamental research.
El Bardo 938 says, and he's talking about XRP here, team, I think we could potentially, years away, to $11 to $13 during wave 3, then correct to 4 to 7 on wave 4, then proceed 21 to 27 for wave 5. Wave 3 is just the beginning. Matty, what is he talking about here with all these waves?
Man. Everybody's so creative. So Elliott wave theory is not something I specialize in, but I have studied a little bit of it. And essentially, it is one of the more, a lot of charting is subjective, but I would say it's one of the more subjective and abstract ways of charting. And that's really because people can kind of manipulate certain pieces of price action and say, well, that was wave 3. Well, that was actually this longer piece of price action. All of this was wave 3, right? And you can, of course, count waves just like you can with support and resistance. You can count waves on smaller time frames. You can count waves on higher time frames. But to say, for first and foremost, that it's going to take years for all of this to play out, right, is kind of ridiculous, considering the way that we see the way that crypto has moved cycle after cycle, right? I think if we didn't have the suppression of the SEC lawsuit during this last run, XRP would have already broken out to like 13 to 21. I think that we would have already reached that in this last cycle if the SEC lawsuit wasn't in place. XRP did do about a 16x from its lows, even with the SEC lawsuit in place, which is very impressive, right? That like knocks the gains you would have gotten out of the Dow Jones out of the park. That would have like been decades decades worth of gains that you would have gotten out of the Dow Jones just from XRP in that one particular cycle there. But either which way, I think that target wise, you're on the money, right? I think that those are the waves that we would see 11 to 13 and then 21 to 27, right? The Fibonacci support 21. It's a number on there. 13 is also supported as a Fibonacci number. Those are supported from very, very old Fibonacci ranges. So, at the end of the day, I just would want to know more of your reasoning as to why you think this is going to take multiple years, right? Versus maybe like 2024, we break it into a new all-time high and then finish the cycle into the top end of 2025. That's generally what we would expect for a bull cycle, unless you see something different than we have seen. How we're equities in the crypto market have moved together. We have anywhere from 12 to 18 months of a bull market. Then you kind of have this cool off period. Then you have the bear market, and it kind of all starts over again. So again, I think that your targets are correct. I just think that it's going to happen a little sooner than that.
Yeah, sorry, El Bardo. It's Fibonacci supported, so you're wrong. But that's all we have for today, team. A lot of good questions there. I love those. Thank you for all that. I know we had a Loop Network question, and I love how Matty is not going to BS.
Definitely not.
Yeah, you guys should invest. No, he's a technical analyst, and he always gives the truth, even if he doesn't, is not well versed on the project. If a lot of people want Loop Network in the comments, we will. I'll ask
Sure.
Matty. Matty, can you look a little bit into this if it's worthy? But Matty's got XRP, Casper. He's got all these cryptos that are extremely valuable from a project standpoint and extremely valuable from an investing standpoint. So it's really hard to go out to all these different cryptos, especially. And then look what happened when he pulled up Loop Network. It was way overextended. We wouldn't think twice about buying it right now. I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. So. That's just that. Matty, anything to leave the team with here today?
Well, I appreciate you bringing these questions. I genuinely do. This is something that really fills a lot of passion in my heart. Crypto and charting are two of my favorite things. So I really enjoy doing this show for you guys. Keep those questions coming. I know in the comments sometimes I see you guys, especially some of you guys who are regular with the show, thinking that we're shilling you guys coins or that we're giving you guys information for our own personal benefit. And that's not the case at all. We're literally taking your questions and I'm answering them as honestly as I possibly can with the research and all the experience I've had charting for over 8 years, over 4 or 5 years now in the crypto markets. And I really want to bring you guys that genuine information. If you guys want to learn more about what we're doing and see what it's all about, join us over at CryptoCharge. You guys get 30 days free. You guys get to jump in that Discord right away too. So you guys can go ahead and chat with some of our members that have been with us for almost 2 years now. They're really enjoying the program. A lot of these guys have come from learning or knowing absolutely nothing about crypto to now having portfolios that they're confident about, doing a lot of their own technical analysis and actually teaching other members in our group now. And that actually makes me so happy and so proud. So come and check this out. Chat with me a bit. If you guys have questions about the program, I am an open book. I don't want you guys to feel like you need to sign up, give me your money, and then we'll give you all the answers on the backside. You guys get a whole month to check it out, chat with me, and then see if it's right for you.
Oh, Matty, love it. I love it. Wise words there. Well, team, that's all we have for today. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, see ya.